I guess.
How are you, sir?
It's felt like quite a while, but it's only been a week, and we did the live one, and yeah, it just seems like a lot has gone on.
Yeah,
You know?
well, it has, right? And it does feel like a long time. I realized when I was setting up, I was like, where's all the shit? And it was still in the bag from when I came
Hmm.
to yours. I was like, wow,
Yeah,
it has been
we
a
didn't
while.
get a chance last week, and
Yeah.
sorry, whatever. These things happen,
We got a
but
few more weeks and then it'll be back to normal, guys. So thanks for bearing with us. Well,
honestly,
bearing with me, really. Robbie's been killing it on the social side, on the
we've been doing it.
bloody post side, and the tech buy-in side. We've got
The
some
tech side is big
nice
now.
little shizzle coming.
All done now. Those
All
two
done.
pieces. That's it. Two pieces. Got the monitor, the whole lot. We can do like full 4 cam live streams, which is the intention from now on.
Big,
Okay, for
big.
the events where applicable, we will be doing it live, and I think that we
We got the
should.
Bang and Glory hole. I mean, look at
That's what
that
I'm saying.
setup. It's pristine.
But I'm thinking that we should do like one weekly regular one. I don't want to do it like Monday Night Smoke because that's not ours and that's not our vibe. But the Boxing Voice has done it for years. We could quite comfortably do our own call in topical thing and just be super rigid with it. And you'll know when I get done by someone because I'll start cussing their mum. Right? That's simply it. Like the second that I feel like this is going a little bit south, cuss your mum, derail you a little bit.
Is Ben's mum number one caller?
Oh, Ben's mum doesn't even need to call, does she? Shout out Ben's mum. Shout out Ben. Got a baby due any minute now. His life
Congrats,
is
Ben.
going to be irreparably damaged. Oh, Ben. Oh, speaking of Ben, which is absolutely nothing to do with it, but he feels like he knows everything about everything. He once stood at Liverpool Street Station or London Bridge, can't remember, and debated a flat earther for 45 minutes. I'm like, you've like literally missed two trains. What are you doing? Why are you debating flat
Who's really
earthers?
won here?
Yeah,
Who's
like
really won?
you're there talking to them. That's all they want. But speaking of flat Earth and reality being a suggestion, this episode is the first one that is brought to us with a little bit of support, and that
Oh,
support, Ian Streets, is from Market Squawk. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but I got Ian just before the last little crypto bush to put a couple of £100 in a little bit of crypto, and it's probably still worth a couple of £100 now. Now, if we had had Market Squawk, shout out Market Squawk, pay as you go, financial service. Market Squawk, powered by Live Squawk News, is a streaming financial news service that lets you know what's moving in real time across the financial data sectors. There is no subscription, which means you can come and go as you please. Instant access, easy to use, and any of your financial data provided by Market Squawk, www.livesquawk.com. It's their pay as you
Squawk.
go service.
Hoorah.
I know Live Squawk from my old life. They are second to none. Shout out. We'll be working with them, for the foreseeable.
Investing our Patreon cash and, buying ourselves mink suits and the like.
I mean, the Patreon cash has been reinvested
It has
again,
part of that
but
techie tech.
fine. We're good to go, and we literally have everything we need to dominate. So back to the topical debate show. I think that would be fun, and I think we can do that even not in person. We can do that like this.
Damn, son.
Yeah, I think we can have a
I'm
little
about
a
it.
little bit of that, and like
FW's got all sorts of new shit coming.
the FWL, the most reductive name, but also spot
You
on,
get
isn't
you
it?
get the idea what it is, yeah.
Yeah. You really do get the idea quite nicely. But what I was going to say is that with this great responsibility of being YouTube's hundreds of views, literally hundreds of views, tens of comments. The first, I mean, listen, the first live stream it was a laugh, wasn't it? It was fun. Like, you literally just sitting in the corner room. After about 5-10 minutes, you don't really realize that you got a mic in your face and you're literally just watching the telly and
Yeah. And we left it
talking
on for the whole 4 hours of the show.
the whole lot, which, you know what? They absolutely and utterly blitzed through that show, right? They started at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
The pay-per-view started at 6 p.m. This is last week. This is the AJ. This is going to be our post-mortem of the card, of the fight, of the heavyweight situation as it stands now. Yeah. But no, they started that at 6 p.m. and Florian Marku was already in the ring. Now, as far as I was aware, Florian's on the he's quite comfortably in the contender state now, right? He's no longer a
Yeah.
prospect. He's a contender for sure. He is a fighting man. He's fun as fuck. He's aggy as anything. He's in a Lambo. He's in a Raz. He's in bastard tracksuits with those little man bags. Right. Can someone message us and tell us what the fascination with European gentlemen and those man bags is? Because Thursday before the fight, Hollywood Allen and I took Russ out for dinner for, being a guest, being a G.
Shout out Russ. What a
Yeah.
fucking legend.
He's still in the UK at the minute. If anyone looks over Ian's shoulders, they've sent us updated custom gloves to celebrate our success, which is, cheers, rival.
How delicious are
Look
these?
at that. Those are so
I'm sparkling
beautiful.
your camera too.
Oh, yeah. There it is. But yeah, we took him out to dinner. Obviously, he's part of Team Usyk. He's Usyk's cutman and he's Usyk's rapologist. Now, as we were walking to the restaurant where, shout out to Russ, he 100% wanted to eat at the food court at Westfield. Like, listen, everyone does whatever they want to do, and I respect that. But he 100% wanted to eat at the food court. And I was like, oh, if I'm going to eat at the food court, that means I'm a teenager again. And that means that someone is going to get titted up in the lift. Russ. But no, he twice it happened in the space of about a 7-minute walk where very ominous looking Eastern and blockers would just appear to him and just in obviously tracksuits, looking like every single like Russian, Slovak, Polak, any AK stereotype. And they would just have these like sash bags and they would be like
tracksuited Bond villains everywhere.
Yeah.
And Loma.
Yeah, I call you, Russ. I call you. You have not called me back. And he's like, yeah, I'm going out for dinner. And he's like, yes, but I've called you and this. And he's like, yeah, I'm out, bruv. Like, leave me be. Someone was going to get fucking ricined, But yeah, listen, on that evening, Streets and I had what can only be described as a deep and meaningful with Kugan Cassius. A little bit of a name drop for you. About 35 seconds. We saw Paul Smith Jr., who is like me in February fat, right? He is Paul Smith is not about that life no more, son. Big respect, Paul Smith. And then we were about 4.5 foot from Loma, and both of us just was like, also, it looks a little bit like you got a do-rag on. Which would be sick because the white gap in the background in between the gloves looks a little bit like a tail. And also, would it be that shocking if you had a do-rag? It probably wouldn't. I can see you doing that.
Just rocking it out.
Oh. Do you know what would be terrifying? If I had a do-rag, that would just be just wild. Just wore it like it was fine. But no. We were like 4.5 foot from Loma and we kind of fanboyed a little bit.
A lot.
A lot. Yeah. It was just like, is that Loma? Is that Loma? We almost had a race scare, didn't we, as we walked into the hotel? Because I was like, bruv, that's Kugan. And then we was like, that's not Kugan. Why would it be Kugan? And then it was Kugan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We almost had to go to church. But anyway, yeah. It was a powerful event. As events go, that was a proper welcome back. Yep. It was weird because it was obviously Matchroom's pay-per-view on Sky. Sky were doing anything and everything they possibly could to try and just get
Don't forget us.
Yeah, that tiny little upper hand, like that tiny little bit. Like we had a little chat a bit like on the stream about it. They were going through to like this rodent child in the crowd and they asked his prediction. It turns out he's a footballer of some sort. So they're like going to Jamie Redknapp, who calls him Lemon Smenchenko, but what he actually means is Lemonchenko.
Legit, I thought they were talking about someone. I'm like, oh, who's he talking about? It's like, oh, wow, way off. Wow, talking like you proper knew the geezer too.
So off. Yeah, like, they went through the people that they had just to remind you that we're Sky and we are Sky. It was
all
a little
their
bit
new ads as well.
Yeah, the ads were dirty. Everything about it was dirty. It was like, if you enjoy this, guess what's happening next week? It's Eubanks Jr. And you're like,
it's not going to happen.
It's not the same. But can we give him in the year end? How can we possibly not? He's the commentator. He's the pundit of the fucking year. Do you remember how hype he was? Like, shout out Eubanks Jr.
Whenever he's mentioned.
Was amazing, right? So I text Trav from Undefeated just to say, like, you know, congrats, big on DAZN and stuff like that. And he texted me to say, mate, what you couldn't see, because we were chatting about Eubanks, obviously, because he's a G. What you couldn't see is that every time that they would stop shooting, he would start shadow boxing. And that explains so much that why they would go back, right? And you know, Anna is a proper professional, right? Anna was running that shit. She had her guns out. She was fucking running it. But when it
until the trench coat came on.
Yeah, the trench coat was too much. Then she looked like she asking for who's been a naughty boy. I think I said to you 9,200 on OnlyFans from sticking stuff up her. I think. Just the auxiliary. Say you got to pay for the new kitchen. But they would cut back, and then Josh Taylor and Anna were both looking like quite perplexed and a little bit aggy before the segment would start. And then it was enough to like even just have a 1 second delay for Anna. They would flash back. You could clearly hear them go, you know, we're back on. And she would just be like, and we're back. You just, the geezer, like he was either a T-Bird, he'd been watching Grease, or he was George Michael tribute. Like, that's the only thing that he was. And I'm sure he's got hair and beard tattooed.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's always identical, right?
And the new teeth. The new teeth are big. Congratulations, Eubanks. Right? You stole the show for me. He's literally second only to Naz. And Naz wasn't even in that level of position. They had him in and out.
Yeah, which is the most epic mic drop. Just come in, fuck shit up, and then go. That was like that Mike.
He wasn't even kind.
Kanye interview you showed me. That's
George Bush. Hey,
but
yeah, it was a fantastic event. Exactly what everyone needed. 67,000. You know, Sky was obviously only able to give AJ pyrotechnics because Usyk didn't get any, did he? But that's fine. That's fine.
He got something a lot better though. So,
well,
big up.
The biggest winner of the night is, unfortunately, we have to say this, is Campbell Hatton, because he got a gift. Now, we wasn't live at that point, but I turned to Honey Bubbles in the empty chair, which makes me feel like, you know, he's maybe died and I just whatever. But I turned to Honey Bubbles and I said that if they give this to Hatton, I want them to give this to Hatton because it's like a piss take of the highest.
Yep.
And it really was a piss take at the highest.
And we were like
celebrated,
laughing at, like, you were like giggling, like, imagine if they give it to him. Can you imagine if they give it to him? And they fucking gave it to him.
Like, there was so many questions. Why is the referee the judge in a at that point, that stadium was pretty full. You're the third from the top of the bill.
Like, why is that fight so high on the card?
I actually know this. It's because Sky flipped it. Sky wanted Campbell. I mean, Sky had a fucking nightmare. So Sky wanted Campbell to be further up on the bill.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, whatever the reason, that reason should not exist. Like, there's no reason that should be there. Also, to be, like we've discussed, you know, and it's no knock on him. It's just, you're a starting out pro. You don't need to be on these massive, because it just adds that extra pressure. Like, his career will take a massive knock from this, because people are going to, even though people love to hate, and they'll remember that he got gifted so early, going to all his future fights, you kind of will have that stigma until, you know, you get a few more fights out of the way and then people forget about that shit. But for this short time, you just don't need it. Why do you need the ag this early on?
Yeah, but
and you can't blame him. He just did what he could, but it wasn't enough. I feel terrible for his opponent because he's traveled to the Lions Den. It was another one of these upset ones that just didn't fucking happen. He's like, not tonight, motherfuckers.
Do you know what? Do you know what? whenever I see that, and it's happened, I think 4 or 5 times since we had
Recent, yeah.
Jamie Quinn on,
Yes.
right? Because all I keep remembering is hearing Jamie saying, "I'm going to get on one of these big cards towards the end when I've had enough," and just wreck shop,
Yeah.
right? And that poor Spanish geezer from Uruguay or wherever they said he was from, Honduras or whatever, right? That poor guy, that's the only time he's ever going to be in front of 76,000 people, even if it was 50,000 at that point, even if it was 40,000. You're talking a
Shitload of
different,
people.
yeah, a different galaxy on a massive stage on a pay per view, all this other stuff. What's the worst? What's the worst thing that happens if I win? They get me back for a rematch and I've got leverage, like old matey who got cut. What was his name? Lara.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this, it's changed everything. It's all different in a minute. But yeah, I mean, you had Callum Smith lower in the bill. Like that's the Muhammad Ali trophy winning unified super middleweight champion. It was only one fight ago that he took his first L, and that was to
And
Canelo.
Canelo.
To Canelo.
And he flatlined someone that has gone this like animal, like never been stopped. And that was brutal.
I couldn't put that as Koof Club because I still don't know what's happened to that guy.
Yeah. If he's all
I
right.
still don't know if he's all right or not. Like
That
it
leg
was the
shaking. Whoa.
it was a lot. Anywho, very quickly, Lawrence Okolie destroyed someone who was his mandatory. He done exactly what he should do. He's got his first defense out the way. I think he looked good doing it. He looked like he was crushing that poor boy.
Yeah.
Like the body shot that took him down, you could just tell that he was, oh, mate, no.
Yeah, it's like, you're still paying me, right? Okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna stay here.
And then the main event. Now, the main event is, I personally had no idea what way that was going to go. That was a head and a heart situation. Your head always told you Usyk, you know, as a Brit, as what he is for the sport, for undisputed and stuff like this. You would take one for the team and just be like, your heart really wants AJ to win, AJ style. And what we got was an incredibly intense, like it was so intense. And I don't know if it was because of the quote unquote drinks we had, but it seemed so intense. And up until 8 or 9, it was close enough, right? And when I say close enough, it was close enough for you to feel like it won't be that big of a deal when it's a draw. It won't be that big of a deal when it's an SD to AJ.
Yeah. So this whole thing, and it's sad that this is the way it is, but listen, it's fucking boxing. Let's not sugarcoat it. This shit happens all the time. Most of our prediction was based on the caveat that whatever Usyk does, he's going to get fucked on the scorecards. So unless he knocks out AJ, he's not going to win. And then I thought that would probably dictate the way he would then have to fight, which may not work in his favor at that size. But on a boxing skill for boxing skill,
it didn't.
Usyk is in another, universe. But that performance, and we 100% need to say, I don't care what people are saying, ragging on him, shitting on him, like he was never anything. This was the golden boy of boxing.
Let's start with AJ. Right?
Right.
Let's start with AJ. Go on, please continue. The golden boy of boxing.
Yeah. So it's just everything seems so all or nothing these days.
Yep.
So the second it's a lot, he was fucking.
Can I just say very quickly?
Yes.
There are 2 fighters on the planet, right? Just 2 that can fill a stadium and get everyone on that card paid. Their names are Anthony Joshua still and Canelo Alvarez.
Yep.
They're the only 2. I won't hear a peep about JP, right? That's a cash grab. That's a different thing.
Yes.
If you're on an AJ pay-per-view, that goes from the top and that everyone's paid all the way down to the bottom. Probably a little bit more than market because he's so huge.
Yeah, so many people watching.
Canelo the same.
Yeah.
Right? Let's take that into account because he's had a lot of those fights. And he's not old. He's had a couple of much harder fights. And I'm going to say this, I think that Usyk fight was way harder on him than any of the other fights he's had, including the one where he got stopped by Ruiz. I think
Absolutely.
that fight, he was fucked at the end of it. He was done.
Also, too, because, and I don't want to sound like jumping on the whole, but we've said this the whole way through. AJ is an incredible ambassador for the sport.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, he gets everyone paid. It's just you couldn't ask for a better spokesman, but you have to be realistic. If we're going to talk, because people love to talk pound or greatest ever and whatever, it's just like he has done exceptionally well in the time that he's been around.
He's an overachiever, if anything.
Exactly. But for a skill perspective, it's not necessarily that he's a specimen. If you stand in front of him, you're in a lot of trouble. He punches like fuck. And yes, his footwork's improved a lot. His head movement has improved a lot. But improving a lot and comparing it to certain other fighters, that's a big difference. And it just showed, it's like if someone is faster than you can work your speed. If someone hits harder than you can work your power. But when someone is just better, that's a hard pill to swallow. And I thought, he did good just saying, I still want it. I'm still here. He's made a fortune. For him to still, have the fire, want to rectify it in the rematch. Amazing stuff. And boxing won that night. Like at the end of the day, people are going to lose. That's what you want. You want fucking great fights, and that's what's going to happen. And you couldn't ask for a better person than Usyk to get it. Like the fact that he's now undisputed cruiser, unified heavy, going into an undisputed heavy fight, just.
So he's like let's be real about it. Okay, look, this is going to be as subjective as possible, right?
Yep.
I really like Usyk. Everyone knows that. Yep. It's not a big deal. I really like AJ. I like Usyk as a character, as a everything that he is more than AJ, because AJ is so big that he can't be Watford AJ all the time. I wish he was.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you kind of want, but that doesn't end well. That ends in the Mike Tyson not believing you, John Jones. Yeah, like the destructive. He's doing remarkable.
Yeah.
But Usyk is like you're saying, like Usyk's I was just looking it up there, 335 and 15 as an amateur, right? I think AJ had 40 amateur bouts total.
Right? That's a lot of experience.
It's such a big experience.
And this is the thing too, with that pedigree of amateur, it's different to the pro ranks. Like your first 10 pro fights, they're nothing compared to the level of opposition you're fighting at the highest level of amateurs. Like you're fighting world level people the whole time compared to some guy, like no disrespect, but some guy that you're meant to just get some rounds in and look great doing to build your profile. It's a very big difference. And you can't make up for that in a lot of, that's why someone like Loma can fight for a world title in their second fight. That's not normal.
No. And under extenuating circumstances, the commissions will look into it. Like you go up to like Loma's 396 and 1.
Yep.
As an amateur, 396 and 1. Right. So if someone, you go, this is a 2-time gold medalist. He's gone pro. He's had 1 pro bout, so it's not an 0-0 job. And this is him. You're gonna go, yeah, he'll be all right.
Yeah,
he'll be fine. But yeah, the golf in experience.
I mean, clearly you can go, here's an ex-heavyweight world champion, and here's a guy that played in the NBA and threw down with someone's fucking brother. That's all right. Did we mention that he's got some brain issues? Yeah, it's fine. Criminal part, doesn't matter. Fuck it. So
well, fortunately that got stopped though, innit?
Yeah.
So
thank fuck for that.
That was last night.
Is that when it was supposed to be? Is it?
That's because Paulie beat up Corey B.
Oh yeah, of course.
And got a UD, and Lamar fought some other guy who I have no idea who he is, because do you know what? I just reckon that this is completely off topic, but this was when Riddick was supposed to fight Lamar, and everyone was like, "Are we sure?" Like for real though, because it felt like someone was gonna die.
The only thing closer to murder is recently Canelo not ruling out fighting Jake Paul. I was like, okay, that's a pay-per-view murder in the making. Like,
that's the end of Rome. That's literally us watching a public execution.
I don't want to stray too far, but seeing as we're on topic of things that didn't happen, look what's not happening tomorrow night or on the new date.
I feel that requires an awful lot of conversation.
All right, shall we leave that for?
That's for the end. We'll do that after, right? So
I'm in mourning.
Yes, but yeah, we're in black. It's fine. But the bout itself, like, look, you add them up. So we did it in a preview. Okay, you got the power and the explosivity of AJ and the size, and then you have the skill and the experience. And I have been harping on that he has not looked that small at heavyweight, and comparing Chaz Witherspoon, who he bashed the fuck out of, right? How I don't know how you're supposed to look good or not good. That's down to the opponent. Like Chaz he wasn't great.
And tell me someone who looks good against Del Boy.
Yeah, exactly. And Del Boy did exactly what AJ didn't, which was Del Boy just was
mean-mugging him.
Yep. He was swinging, he was attacking, he was hitting anything and everything. He didn't give a fuck about it being the perfect shot or landing. He was just trying to land. And if you're big and strong and tough and you can keep boring past like that,
do it.
But again, even against Usyk, like Usyk still hurt him a couple of times and wobbled him a few times. Like
which is nuts because he can take a shot, and that shows that Usyk at heavy is that's a problem.
So this is what I think happened, in my opinion. I think that they were prepared for boxing. Okay, as in like and I said prepared. Okay, they had prepared for what would be required should it go down this route. But I can't imagine that this was the game plan. Because if it was the game plan, it's crazy.
I mean, I unfortunately think it was, and it's just like I think AJ boxed. Like if we could somehow do a split screen, take out the opponent and look at just AJ, I think he boxed beautifully. Like I think he looked better than he ever has. He was moving. He was, throwing shots.
He was holding his own in a boxing match with Usyk, holding his own, but not.
Yeah, but the thing I would have to say then is if you add in the opponent, it is the worst game plan of and I sound like a broken record, but it's the perfect example. Maidana versus Mayweather 1. Yep. He was swinging for the hills and he caught Floyd with shots because it was so unorthodox. Mm-hmm. That's your shot. You're not going to outbox a boxer. So while his boxing fundamentals have improved massively, you're never going to get them to the level to be able to but that shouldn't be the thing. You're a specimen. Like the power is the next level. You got to impose that will. And I know it's easier said than done. I'm very aware of that. But for that to be your go-to, like, for example, you can count the amount of hooks that AJ threw and the angle that Usyk just kept getting. And it's like the straight line shot. It's just like he's finding not only the outside line, but the inside line. He's going to his power hand with ease. He was splitting his shots. He was getting out of there. And there was no real punch variation. The punches were great. Technically, he was looking good. It's not like he was particularly open. It's just Usyk is a master of creating and finding openings. It was a masterpiece to watch because that first round, he looked a bit tentative. He started getting through. And then it was just like, as soon as he felt, he's like, oh my God, like he was in, out, beautiful. And there was some mustard on them shots. Like
he hurt AJ at least 6 times.
It was.
And I think that was part of the derailment. I think that he caught one and thought this guy actually, I don't think that I almost, this is the problem because I don't want to speculate on behalf of the AJ team because like, how would you know? But I just can't fathom why you would. I felt that it was more Usyk forcing him to fight that way
for sure
than the plan.
For sure. Because also too, when we're talking about sitting down on the shots and everything, you can visit because I'm going to try and make a video on some of the things that he did and going through where the shot, you see the difference in stance. AJ can't commit to shots because he keeps getting countered. And that was, again, sound like a broken record. I didn't think Ruiz would be the person to beat him, but the way he was beaten, I thought would be the undoing. And it's because he has so much power. When people are in front of him, you're going to be in trouble. But if you're out of the way and then you counter straight back, there's no real lateral movement. There's no nothing. So that can be a big weakness. And it was just it. And then you can see just even the jab changed. It was more like a probe half the time than a shot. And that's why when he was digging them body shots, I was like, oh, this could be good. But then you see Usyk immediately adjusting. You see he was just going for that hook. He's like, because he was kind of winding that body shot up a little bit, it's like you could see he was almost like queued up, like just try that again. It was fucking beautiful to watch.
But this is like, look, it was a comfortable 9-3 in my opinion.
Yep.
And
sorry. And then we did a massive interrupt, but just remember the original point. When we were doing the scoring, it was not just scoring, it was how we thought a scoring of an AJ card would go. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, there was one judge that had it 2 rounds and you're just like, mate, all right, fine. And then to be fair, the others led it 5 rounds, right? And that's solid. Respect.
And that was a massive win for boxing. It's sad that we were like, fucking, I cannot believe they've scored it. Pretty much how, I mean, there could have been a few, but who gives a shit? Like, it wasn't ridiculous scoring like we've just seen with Campbell. That Campbell thing worried me because, like, here we go. They've just set the dinner table.
Yeah. They got the wonkies out. Do you remember how shady the Skylock got on the commentary? Like when like after like round 8 and it was looking decidedly, it went from like Usyk being like the underdog in this fight in the first 2-3 rounds, and it was like, all right, okay, this has changed. Like 5, 6, 7, all right, again, don't really know which way it's going, and then they just changed. AJ's out. Usyk, go and get Adams out over there, going, go and get the checkbook. Like just desperately trying to get anything on Usyk just to get him over, but hey. What a good fight.
Great night of fights. Great fight. And really respect for a great heavyweight fight. Like, that's the thing. You can't shit on AJ. It was a great fight. He just fought a fucking amazing fighter, and mad respect. It's just one of those ones. Listen, it's going to happen. It doesn't have to be, okay, now this guy's shit. Like, no, I mean, is there a lot to work on? Yeah. I mean, is it a foregone conclusion that the same thing will happen in the rematch? No, but there's a lot that needs to be ironed out to not let that happen again. Moving forwards, does this shake up the heavyweight division massively? Absolutely.
Huge. I want my prophecy to be right, so we can do the photoshops of me as a messiah to say that AJ wins the rematch. And I just have the feeling that he will. And I think that's partially because I'm done with doubting him. I just think there's like the only thing that's a little bit ominous is that like Alex Kresic said that they want it in Feb or March in Kiev, and like it's -6 in Feb in Kiev. You know, they're all going to be sitting there fucking in t-shirts, just with vodka and then glow stick fluid, just to give it that little zhuzh on the way down. Yeah, I wouldn't fancy that. And it's going to be in a big open air stadium as well, isn't it?
Let's just do this unification.
Oh, at the stepper side.
Yeah.
They've already activated it. They've already said they're doing the rematch.
I just want, like, listen, shit happens all the time. Can't just shit happen one more time and let's just do this. Let someone have all the fucking belts. It's like Lord of the Rings that never ends.
How big was Aram just to immediately dive on that? So you know exactly what he did. He sent a fax to AJ's team, right? And obviously AJ's team and him got fax machines. So,
and a page on their beepers.
Yep, sent a page on the beepers. Yeah, maybe a telegram of some sort. And then he immediately notified the press, which is what he knows how to do, to tell them that he has started to speak to AJ's people, which was that fax. Now, AJ's people probably didn't have any fucking idea that this came through from the offices of Robert Aram. But hey, good for him. Good for him. I'm hearing a lot that the DAZN BT Sport thing is like done.
Oh yeah,
I'm hearing that a lot. Which would mean that. Does that mean that Eddie would be Frank Warren's boss?
Oh, can you imagine?
Because for some reason, Eddie and Oscar have got beef now.
Yeah, Oscar's just looking for beef with it. Someone, it's like Trump. Someone needs to
So
take
good.
that social account. Just be like, no, don't do that. Like, next time you want to make a video, tell me what you want to say. Let's just, maybe pee in a cup first, see what our levels are saying,
No,
then release it. I know you'd
no,
hate that. Yeah.
no. You don't want the vetting. You don't want the barriers. You want it just straight out. You want to be doing Instagram lives while your prostitute is rubbing lotion on your face.
Bro, that was so weird. The first bit, I was like, what is happening here?
What's going on? That geezer's is off the deep end, isn't he? He really is. Like how can we not get that picture of him Nick Cage coked out doing pads? How can we not have t-shirts for that?
Bro, how is like Floyd not just saying, yeah, fucking, have you really got 100 mil? If you do, I'll beat the fuck out of you. Like,
They've already had that chat. They've already had that. Floyd's in. Like, all right, it's in because it's going to be 140 because he'll do the shorts 40 mil this time because it was 30 last time.
yeah. Oh.
Yeah, this is a much bigger event. But right, back to topic of the old heavyweights. I think AJ wins the rematch. I don't know why I think that. I won't be surprised.
Very much could happen if he employs a game plan more catered to his strength.
Yeah.
Then, of course, he's still, and this is the thing. This is why you can't shoot him. He's still a very strong, powerful heavy, but great boxers go a long way. Experience goes a really long way, and the caveat to that is sometimes if there's great box, and I don't want this to, it's going to sound massively disrespectful. I don't mean it to, but when you have like outstanding people, but one is substantially bigger, often that person will win. So that's why I think if Adesanya were to fight Jones, both of them are outliers.
Jones will bush him up.
But Jones is just like that, but a lot bigger. So that causes massive amounts of problems. I don't feel that's the case now with Usyk. Like, because we hadn't seen a fight at heavy where you could really, the Del Boy fight is very hard to, like, you can see he can take a punch, he can give a punch, but it's still question mark. There were only a couple. The fact that he's able to do that with AJ shows the weight is clearly not a problem. And when you minus that out, you're left with skill. I mean, Usyk's, I think other than Fury, nightmare for anyone. But incredible fights ahead.
Questions for you that are in the goss and the hates and the comments and stuff like that. Do you think AJ's gone a little bit too big time and too soft? Now, for me, let me jump in and answer that. I'm like, he had enough money 5 fights ago. I kind of believe him that he is actually about legacy. Yeah.
I think he's on the round version of it. I think that did happen, if I'm honest, and I think it was right around the Ruiz time. We even commented on it before the fight. It's like, fuck, you can't watch any of the build up without being a Hugo Boss ad for him, a Lynx ad for him. That's time. It's not necessarily the whatever, like, oh, doing it for the cash. It's an investment of time. You then have obligations where you're not in the gym. We've seen it time and time again. Look at Ronda Rousey. You see it when they do explode. I feel like he's had it all. He's exploded. He's seen the mega stardom. He's still got it. So then you can sit back and go, what do I really want? Do I want a couple of extra million, my face on TV? Or do I want to cement my legacy? And I do feel like he does. That being said, I also do feel that he won't be in it for the long haul. I think you're not going to see like you see with a lot of the other heavies and great fighters where they make comeback after comeback and push. That's not him. I think.
No.
To be honest, if the undisputed doesn't go according to plan and the rematch clause is activated, I'm not sure how much long after that, depending what plays out. If Fury collects all the straps, walks away, maybe one more, get them all, and then be like, that's it. But I have just a feeling that it won't be like a 40-something-year-old AJ still fighting.
No, not unless something awful goes wrong.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine though if you're Eddie and you've had him do a lifetime contract and then like he just gets turned over in big style? And I put it on our Instagram, the picture of AJ looking definitively shocked as the decision comes out. But I don't know if he was shocked or if he was just like he had been punched for 12 rounds by a large man. So
I think that was like a piss / hope it was a piss take, like
right.
because I saw the picture, but I don't remember seeing it when we were watching it, although that could have been for a multitude of reasons. But I don't remember being like,
Yeah, that
clearly
Korean
he's not
food
shocked
was
by that.
spicy,
Yeah.
boy. Yeah. But no, it's I do you get rid of Rob McCracken? Is it time for a change? And if yes, who the fuck do you go to?
Yeah. I mean, I would, often it's like the coach, the first head to chop. If the camp went well and everything, and it was just, it's time to bring in a new set of eyes, potentially someone that just, strategizes, a Russ, someone that just sees things and can bring that element. But I don't know. It's probably the time where those questions are being asked.
My next question will lead back into the answer to the previous.
Yeah.
So, did you find it odd? Because I did, but I was also super in the moment during the fight. There wasn't really much oomph from the AJ corner, right? At no point do I remember Rob saying to him, like, we got to go for this now. Like,
it was the exact opposite. It was like he'd take a step to the left and be like, brilliant work, AJ. It's like, is it? Like, you need Floyd, right? When your call, that was just like, okay, take a step aside. Do you remember when Gervonta was having his fight here at your call? Floyd's like doing, and no, it's like this, and just took over the ring. That you don't need. Eubank Sr. standing there with his monocle and his sleeveless tuxedo. And it's like, your son's fighting now. Like, take a step aside. That you don't need. But what you do need is when Floyd came up to Tank, remember, and saying, you're going to lose it. You need to bring it. That's what you need. You need just that reality. You need someone to, you need a fucking Teddy Atlas to tell you're a fireman.
No. This is actually my point, is that I don't know if they do need someone like a Teddy, because realistically in the scene, who has world level heavyweight world champion like experience, who's left? Emmanuel was like the last one. There's not a new one. Boy, how wild would it be if you ended up with Ben Davison? You'd be like, the geezer's the king. Shout out Ben. That's all you could do at that point. You'd be like, oh my lord. Okay.
Mate, I'd love it if he ended up with Chepo Reynoso. That would just be the shit.
Again, but they don't have heavyweights.
Yeah, well,
they've got a couple now, but like they're not heavy. Who would you go to?
Yeah,
you know, it's not my kids. I thought that was my kids making noises there. It might be my kids making noise, but it's fine. We're in it. Fucking kids. But yeah, let's say that in March, I'm going to deal with this.
Do it. I'm going to get my charger.
All right, dude. So, yeah, heavyweight is in absolute disarray again. We don't know if AJ should be changing trainer, which you would probably have to say someone like a Teddy, who was the choice for Ruiz, I think, for quite a while. I mean, I just can't think who else you would possibly have out there. I mean, you could go to like a Mark Tibbs, but then, like he's got Johnny, and then, I don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it, with the big men? Like Rob is a fantastic trainer. Like he's head of Team GB. He's Cole Froch's old dude. Like, he's a great trainer.
Yeah, I mean,
you wouldn't be saying
like you said with the heavies, what, you're going to go Shane, be with Lawrence, you're going to go... I don't know.
Thingy's just gone to Shane. Ellie Scottney. She's left the Booth lot and gone to the McGuigan lot. I wonder if they're a bit beefy then. I don't know. Who knows?
Wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility.
It wouldn't, would it? Right, so February, March, rematch, that's done. Usyk shut down shit. He done exactly what you kind of thought he could do. You didn't know if he'd be able to do it or not. I was fascinated by Sky, who have commentated quite a few Usyk fights, commenting on saying, "Can he do this for the full 12 rounds?" Now,
Yeah.
whatever has made you think that he's ever not been the Del Boy fight? The Del Boy fight, he probably was a little bit more on the tired side for sure, but he was still cruising that.
Usyk
Yeah,
throws 3 million punches a fight, any given fight.
like
Yeah, I was
the the
amazed that they said that.
the movement just of his upper body is exhausting enough. Like
Yeah.
he literally just does not stop. He just constantly touch it. He's like he's a cyborg. He's a
Which
mad
was
genius.
the biggest contrast you can see because AJ's torso was, there was a
Yep.
few little slips and stuff, but the head like on the center, and
Hmm.
you just see Usyk the whole time. Just
Yeah.
yeah, that's a clash of styles that's tough
I,
to
I mean,
overcome.
to celebrate what he did, okay, he completely dictated early. He came out heavy early, and he did hurt AJ a few times early doors. And
Which
then
in itself is
which is decent going. But then we did say in the preview, like, AJ did get stopped by Ruiz, and Ruiz has never been like he has been a heavy. He's a fucking 6'4",
yeah.
17 stone man. Of course, he's got a whack on him, but he hasn't been. There's at no point has it been like this dude's got proper power. It's just it's volume and speed and placement with him more than anything.
Yeah, his coach took it on the chin. And
He
that was a
took it.
crack.
It's a big one, wasn't it? But you know, Usyk has like he literally came out and he put a bit of a little beating on, and then the fight,
Smart. Make you
yeah,
second guess. Whatever your game plan is, show them that it ain't happening tonight, motherfucker. And that's
no,
what AJ just wasn't able to. But that's the mark of a brilliant boxer. Like everyone has a game plan against Floyd. How many people get to execute it? No.
yeah,
You can see them
and
go through the gears and it's like, that didn't work. That didn't work. Ah, shit.
I mean, and back in AJ's defense of again, I didn't think it was. I thought it was a pretty good performance. So in the early, like the 1, 2, and 3, okay, we gave AJ round 2
Yes.
because not much happened, and we
Yeah.
gave that as a
Yeah,
that
we
the
were
judge
trying to
is
be as
always going to
much
go.
as like, let's not be realistic. Let's be as
Yep.
you're painted this with AJ,
Mm-hmm.
that's what you want to see. These are the rounds that we could possibly give him so that then be like, listen, even at the end of this, you're taking the piss if you think this is,
Yeah.
landslide victory for AJ.
So round 1 was quite clearly Usyk. He came out, he landed a couple of backhands and was the boss. Round 2, AJ, to be fair to him, had adjusted a little bit. He didn't seem that taken in as to this mad Ukrainian dance that was going on. And he just, it kind of got neutralized. But to be fair, Usyk did win that round, but there wasn't very much in it on either one of them. And you're going to give it to the home fighter. Round 3, Usyk came out and he cracked him and wobbled him.
Yeah.
All good. Round 4, if I remember rightly, was another Usyk round where it wasn't like this is what they do. Loma does the same thing. They give you 80%, and that 80% you wear a few, and then they back off, and then they give you 50% for a bit.
Yeah.
Right?
And then you get
and
confidence. And you're like, oh, yeah.
and then it's the 90, but it's a sustained 90 that you didn't think could go on that long, and then they back off again. They literally tenderize and cook the entire time, just over and over and over. It's like this horrible blitzing attack. 1, 2 shots come through, but they are clean, and they didn't really look like they had much on them, but they had a lot of impact. And that's what was going on. Then round 5, I think round 5 was the round that AJ caught Usyk with a counter. That was like a big right hand that properly done him, and then there was like a glancing looping right hook, one of like 3 hooks that he threw. And round afterwards, I mean, Usyk, he took that right hand.
Yes.
I've seen fold a few of those boys. He took it. Round 6 was kind of that was the round where AJ kind of made an adjustment, didn't he? And he
I
started
think
to
that was the
uppercut
body
to the
shot
body.
round where he started
Yeah,
putting the bodies in.
but then round 7, and I think Usyk came out and he dropped a few of these drilling, like big left straights to the belly, like the pit of the
Oh,
stomach. I think he did like 3 in a row. Bless you.
thank you.
And, they really kind of spun it a little bit. And then round 8, I don't really remember that much, but I remember like 9, 10, 11, 12. Usyk just went
12 big style.
all the way. He went, he was listening to Scooter. What was that song? Whenever do wonderful. Good morning. What a legend that geezer was. He was listening to that in his mind, and that's it. That's go time. That really is. Shout out. But it was hard not to be deeply impressed with him. The whole thing was beautiful. Do you think AJ needs to be Watford AJ? Do you think he needs to be super aggro? Do you think it's like, because Pulev gave him a little bit of shit and then he wanted to punish Pulev? Like, you kind of need to see Watford AJ, because when you see the AJ taking pictures with Andy Ruiz, and I mean with Povetkin, they were very cordial, weren't they? But it was very distant.
Yeah.
And then obviously
Klitschko, that was super.
They were very respectful.
Admirational, yeah.
Yeah, very respectful is what they were, which you would be. Like, it was a big. They seemed pals
I think
this
he
time.
just, the pre-fight, whatever, they're at the level. He just needs, especially with an Usyk, he just needed to impose himself, because you cannot let that guy get away and build that confidence. And also, if a big part of your strength is, being able to impose your size, you need to do that, or at least try. There wasn't really, that was the thing. It's hard to do, but it's like, it didn't even seem like it was in the remit of what they were aiming for. He wasn't pushing forward, wasn't trying to cut off the ring. Usyk was dancing around the ropes when he wanted to. He controlled the center when he wanted to. He just had total control of the ring.
See, I just think that first round where he got landed on, I think it was heavier than what he thought. Because listen, if you get into that sort of that, that's a chess game. That's a bad chess game as well. Your next option is to go Watford, right? Go back and start really trying to put it in. But you do that against someone who's already proven to be able to hurt you at your own massive risk, and you know full well that he's hitting you with shots you've never been even hit with.
Yeah.
He repetitively landed this like weird jab that came up and under,
beautiful.
but it was going about 5 inches, but it was landing on the pit of AJ's chin every time, and you could see it was sickening.
Yeah.
It's like it was just like a little kung fu shot.
It's the same when Mayweather fought Pacquiao. People don't give enough credit. There was one shot in the first round where Pacquiao tried to do what Pacquiao does with that in and out, and he walked straight onto a shot, a right hand from Floyd, and it was just like a glove. But you could see that, oh shit, until he came over for a bit in round 3. It's like, this ain't going to be like how most fights unfold.
But then this is it, right? So, what it's not like a nihilist thing, but what are you meant to do? Is this just a case that, like, I know they say that they chose to take the Usyk fight, which they did within reason, but it's pretty hard to have an undisputed title with not undisputed, you know? And the narrative can be so easily spun. You avoided us, whatever. They had no choice really but to take this fight. This was the next mandatory to be fulfilled. It had been on the go for a while.
I do feel also too, this was in some stream, probably, like, I don't think this went to the plan that they thought. They thought they could get a smaller man out the way before he's adapted to the heavyweight division. Kind of like Floyd with Canelo, where it's like, I'll fight him, outschool him before he grows into who Canelo. He's going to be. And like, I'm not going to jump on the, Floyd, fights people too late, too early, whatever. Like, Floyd is Floyd, and he's incredible.
Floyd fought them when he wanted to fight him.
Exactly. But I do feel like, if we're going to fight him, we'll do it now. Get that sort of out of the way and then move on to the big thing. we said, look, there's banana peels all the way through this thing. This could end tits up in a million different ways.
To be fair, we have said since this was even a possibility that Usyk is a real problem.
Yeah, because and like people kind of say, "Oh, Wilder Fury," and we're like, I don't think we were given the fact that this could very easily go.
Yeah,
Usyk just outboxing AJ, you know?
yeah, and like we said, like if he's 6'1", small, 6'2", fine. That geezer's every bit of 6'4". Like
Yeah,
he's a big man, and like
yeah,
you can see how big he is. Now we've spent an evening with Russ in person. Like Russ is a little bit shorter than I am, so when you see like him hugging Usyk, and it's what the
yeah.
fuck? He's like coming up to his armpit, bless
I
him.
mean, at Loma Linares, I told you, he walked
Mm-hmm.
past me. I was like, "Fuck, he's way bigger than I thought. Like way bigger."
Linares.
No, Usyk,
Oh,
and
Usyk. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and he was just a cruiser then. He hadn't even moved to heavy, so
Still mad that he fought Sean Porter, in it, in the
yeah.
amateurs.
Yeah, there are some of them
Mm.
really weird matchups sometimes. You're like, oh,
He had
fuck.
a couple of like really weird ones. He fought Better
Amateurs are wild.
Biev. He fought loads of them.
Yep.
But yeah, heavyweight's gone tits up now, and this weekend could quite comfortably make it completely and utterly fucked. Which
Wait, why is Wilder talking about his costume again?
wait,
Like,
no. Okay, hey. Is there any way that he doesn't come out in like full Nigerian gear? Because he's claiming to
oh
be
yeah, yeah,
Nigerian now. I didn't know that was that's a relatively new thing. I'm sure. Okay,
yeah.
cool. No big deal. Um, I I want coming to America vibes. I want it big. I want the big trail that kept coming for his bride. I want that.
Oh,
Yeah, like what is
bro, it's just like really like the first excuse before all Breland, all everything was the costume, and now you're going to make this a talking point about what costume you're going to wear. So, the fight, man, just focus on the fight.
I love how crazy he is. I just love it. I really do. I love it. I am
I worry if this goes tits up, how he's going to react. I genuinely do.
again. I don't want anyone to be in distress or in crisis, as it were. But those excuses would be fucking delightful. They would be unbelievable. Because where do you go from the last time?
Yeah, what's left?
The last time was wild.
Yeah,
This time is, I mean, what was it? What do you think happens?
and I don't think Malik takes it that well if you start slanging that shit at him.
No, Malik doesn't like that. And I I have apprehensions that Malik will stop it if required, like
Yeah,
Breland did.
yeah, yeah.
I do have massive worries about that. Um, oh dear.
Yeah, you don't want some Drago Creed shit going on.
I mean, are we going to be having a chat on Sunday night next week? Just like, I don't even know what to do anymore. Is it going to be our last one? Are we going to get to 99 and then just stop because the simulation just breaks at that point?
Bro, I mean, can you imagine for all the build up if the undisputed ends up being Wilder versus Usyk?
No, because Wilder will never want to do it. Right? This is the amazing thing about what goes on is because this, at the end of it, will just loop us back to 12 years ago in the Vlad era and the Vitali era where you're
Yeah.
never going to get undisputed because you can't.
Yeah.
And then this interchangeable, because let's not forget, how many WBC champions were there in succession,
Yeah.
right? There were so many of them. It was fucking, Stavern had it for a bit. Like, it got passed about so much that no one even cared anymore.
Yeah.
No one even was bothered about who the WBC. That
I
became
mean,
the joke
WBA, there's
heavyweight
probably
champ.
25 of them right now.
And they're all fighting on the undercard. That's an all heavyweight undercard, isn't it? With the exception of J-Rock. It's a good undercard, to be fair to it.
Yeah.
It is a good undercard, but hey, we're going to be live for the Scouse card. I'm going to be honest with you, mate. I really don't have it in me to stay up to watch a fight. I haven't got that, and I definitely haven't got that in the chair.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? I just can't. Scouse card will be enough,
Yeah,
and that's a
that'd be big
massive
enough.
card. Um, I, you can see Fury just steamrolling him like he did last time, but worse because it's just so emotional. And Deontay
Oh,
saying
how
now,
epic was his message?
"What, you won't get up next time?" Which one?
No, the one where like Wilder's like, you need to cheat
Oh
this
yeah,
if
yeah,
one
yeah,
thing, whatever, da, da, da. All dramatic, and he's like, I'm gonna smash your fucking face.
yeah. I mean, but that's the Fury that I like.
Yeah.
That's the one, right?
I wanted to see that too because my only apprehension with this is where he is at mentally. The whole he didn't have COVID the first time. Why was there a delay? And but at the same time, rightfully so. You thought you're fighting one guy, all of a sudden things have gone tits up. You reclaim a bit of control and go, actually, no, fuck that. I'm not fighting him now.
Mm.
He's had a good camp. He's no mug. He's a smart guy. He's not going to go in ill prepared. Can't wait.
I said to you that in an ideal situation in an ideal one where we know nothing about what's coming down the pipe, Tay just absolutely levels him, right? And then never rematches anyone ever again. Maybe goes on to the white collar scene to defend his WBC because why not,
Oh, mate.
right?
Imagine like Wilder wins, he fights Joyce, Joyce sparks him, and they're telling you that he just gets passed about and there's never any.
It's
It could go wild.
there's a reason that undisputed is so rare, and this is it, right? It is just so volatile. I can't see how Deontay wins. I just can't. We've seen him be completely and utterly thoroughly outboxed and outfought and outroughed and mentally destroyed and driven to what we can only say is what fringes of insanity.
Sanity, yeah. And also too, we've just been discussing what is everybody so hyped about with Wilder? His improvements in his fundamentals. We've just said with AJ, like he looked, but that was the problem. It's like, what? So your fundamentals are now better than Fury's? No, the thing
No.
that you have is that wild style and power that is off the charts because Wilder hits harder than AJ. Like I don't think that's even up for one hitter quitter power.
Yeah,
Wilder
I don't think anyone
flatlines
I don't think
people.
anyone hits like
No,
Wilder.
and that's your thing. You got to try and land that shit to be on your toes with Fury. It's like that's playing into his game plan. He's like, all right, let's see you keep this up.
I just can't see how Fury can do anything other than destroy him. I can't. You can't see him outboxing. You can't see him out fighting because we've seen that. I don't think Fury is ever actually overconfident. He is a phenomenal fighter. He does just bizarre things for someone of his size. I think when people have always said that he's feather fisted, he ain't that feather fisted. I just don't think he's been that bothered. Why
Yeah,
take the damage? Why
yeah.
why risk
I
it?
mean, he proved me because I legit thought the way he boxes, he won't sit on his shots because he'd rather
Mm,
be up on the toes and tat 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 tat. And which, you see it throughout some of the greatest fighters. They don't have a high knockout ratio. It's because they're amazing. They're always on their toes. They create angles. They don't need it.
mm.
But when he wants to, he's a fucking monster of a man at the end of the day.
Prediction?
With all that said, I can see it going to the cards, Fury winning, but um I really think Fury just stops him again.
Mm,
I think mid fight.
yeah, yeah. I think that a ref or even Malik is going to have to make that call. That
Yeah.
or he gets absolutely and utterly flatlined.
Yeah.
It's just not good for you. But yeah, do you wanna just very quickly? Do you want to talk the Sky card last night, or do you want to do Triller?
Ooh, I didn't see the Sky card.
Okay, wasn't great.
Was it not?
No. It was okay. I'm going to go over this very quickly. I'm going to give it some broad strokes. There was, I mean, David Adesanya battered some geezer, right? He's an
Yeah.
animal, the geezer. He's an
Yeah.
absolute savage. They want to keep him as far away from Conor Benn as possible. The guy doesn't miss a shot. He seems to like seamlessly. He's not even a southpaw or orthodox. He just stands square, and then every now and again one foot goes behind for balance, and he just rips the fuck out of him. Respect. Um, Richard Riakporhe won. There was some boy Green. It was fun. The show was not great.
Right.
Okay, the headline got binned off because of medical reasons because Eubanks Jr. sits in the crowd now. It felt very new on Sky Sports' side. It felt like they were. I described it on my own Instagram. Sky Sports is at the party and they are dressed like an undercover policeman, but they're not an undercover policeman. And then they wonder why no one wants to talk to them. That was every single part of that production last night was what they think you want. And it was weird. Like you had a live watch along with some guy called Vidal, some guy.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who he is. I don't know anything about him. Cool. They had Johnny Nelson going round to everyone and actually doing like a very cordial, like statesmanly thing. Like he would go backstage and the girl Ebony Jones, who had her debut, like
Oh yeah.
spuds her, and he was saying like, you'll never forget this moment. Like just relax, have fun with it. All this like good stuff. And then he was having a chat with Richard Riakporhe backstage. Like he was doing his part. You had Matt Macklin and Adam Smith, obviously on the old ones and twos, and they took great pride in announcing their technological innovations. Okay, so the first technological innovation that I want to talk about was that they went for corner cam on the trainers. Okay.
Right.
Now, do you remember Pride and Ref Cam?
Yeah.
Why isn't Ref Cam back? Ref Cam would
Yeah.
be sick. Right? Let's get that cam.
Oh,
Let's get
ref
that.
cam of a brutal stoppage is the shit. I tell you what ref cam I want. I want the ref cam what they see, and anytime Steve Willis is the ref, I want a camera just on him.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Or to have the emotions of the fighter being told by Herb Dean that they're fine to continue. Yeah. What was I saying? Don't know.
The technological innovation.
Oh yeah, the innovations. So they only use both these innovations I'm going to talk about once. Okay. The first innovation was corner cam. And the time that they decided to do corner cam was in the Ebony Jones fight. It was in the space between the fifth and the final round or fourth round, whatever it was. I couldn't remember. At that time was made up. Okay. And she's coming into the last round. Obviously, she's off her canister on adrenaline and she's in a fist fight with another human. And you hear her corner, but the shot of the corner is on his knee talking down to her like a coach does. So all you saw was saggy tits with erect nipples through the sports bra. Okay? Surprisingly, didn't go back to corner cam because 100% they shit themselves. The other piece of revolutionary tech, which is, I still can't imagine why this was a thing, but I put it on our Twitter. So they were banging on about this heat map that they've got for the ring, a heat map. And you're like, right, okay.
Were they
Okay.
deploying military tactics or what the fuck?
So then they showed you Richard Riakporhe putting this like thin nylon belt thing under his ab protector and the other geezer as well. And it was a heat map of the ring. So it was like a tracker. And they put a diagram of the ring and they split it into, say, 128 tiny squares. And then they would color the squares red and blue to show you where the fighters were moving. Now, when you wonder why, what was the point? I don't get any of that. What, this was the most useless metric I've ever seen, ever. And I want to be part of the team that is responsible for basically selling products to Sky. Because I reckon I can make a fucking fortune.
Like the instant replay where they had that shitty little siren. Remember that they just put on?
Oh yeah, the top rank. So look, it was a fine card, but these technological the only tech that has ever been like that's quite cool. Was do you remember BKB the pit
Yeah,
where Rosado was middleweight champ?
yeah.
They had power output, didn't they, in the gloves? Because they all had
Yeah.
uniform Grant gloves that had the sensor in it.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
it.
literally the only stat any combat sports fan ever cares about. No one cares where they are. We can see it because we're watching it. And it's not a football pitch, you jar. There's two fighters and one ref in a square.
Also, too interesting for like if you're going to track every fight they have, like coaches can look and be like, okay, they favor this potentially, whatever,
Oh no
over a
no oh
period
no
of
no oh
time.
no. It wasn't anywhere near that useful.
Oh.
It wasn't anywhere near that useful. Hold on, son. Hold on. You talk while I sort this out because this is. I
Because I was going
mean,
to say, also too, your average punter with a beer in hand doesn't really benefit from that metric, and especially on that fight, it's not really going to go. But if it's even less useful than that, then yeah, we need to get in the business of selling shit to Sky.
fuck's sake. Deleted it, and but it's in the Tweetor. I'm just going on the Tweetor now.
All right,
I knew how Tweetor worked. Here we go. Profile. Yes.
All right, hang on. Let me see. Where's that?
Look at that.
Oh, there it is. Ah, interesting. Yeah, nah. Not about that life.
Literally tells you nothing at all.
Right. Oh, I saw Sandy Ryan almost fucking punch
Oh,
someone's
she
intestines out. That was
flatlined a bitch, didn't she?
That
Yeah,
was
but the rest of the Sky card, fine, completely fine. There's another one in 2 weeks or something in Newcastle. All good. I have a feeling that Sky will probably ultimately win this weird beef battle thing with DAZN and Matchroom and Sky and Boxer. I have a feeling that eventually they will probably win out. And it's not that bad. They're the only ones that gave a fuck for 30 years. Doesn't mean that things should stay as they are.
Yeah.
But, Eddie and Matchroom have made it cooler, have made it more accessible. He has done an awful lot for the benefit of boxing. And then, you got like fucking Oscar, who's on the slopes all the time, and Bob, who's, it's just shifty, isn't he?
Eddie is fucking killing the game. Eddie and DAZN, like
Yeah.
Yeah, so fucking Triller to finish because this is.
I was going to say. So speaking of pricks, so we have a bet now. When I say we, it's me, but it's us. But we have a bet with Josh from a pod in New York that he hates. For some reason, he hates George Kambosos. He has a real problem with George Kambosos, and I think that's weird.
Yeah,
but whatever.
Amongst itself, but continue.
So, as we know, let's go on the full story arc. As we know, Triller won the purse bids when they decided to do Triller Fight Club as some tax write-off or something. I still don't
mega cash.
Yeah, I still don't get it. They paid $6 million for the fight. The closest bid was 3.4, which was Matchroom, and then beneath it was like 3 flat was Aram at top rank. So they won the purse bids. So, everyone's like, oh, okay. There was robots and Ragaton and Raycon and who know what was going on last time. So it was a bit wild, but you're like, they're praying cash at it. They want to do a proper thing. They started out really well.
They swore that it was going to be different than the YouTuber shit. They said we're going to take.
They brought on Lampley.
Yeah.
They started to do decent promo for it, which they said they've spent $8 million in promo for a $6 million fight. Okay. Fantastic. Almost like they don't really know what they're doing. And they're Hollywood execs, and that's relevant to something that probably will come out later. But they are in the biz. So then they get Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos for the lightweight championship pretty much undisputed, give or take. You know what I mean? And then it moves from, when was it? March.
Oh yeah.
It was like March. Then it went to May. Then it went to June. Then it went to August. Then it went to October, and it went to October 4th, which is Monday to be. We're like, okay.
And there was a Tuesday in the mix,
There was a
Thursday
Tuesday,
for a while.
yeah,
I
there
mean,
was-
it's been a long time since it's been prime real estate.
Mm.
The dates they put forward, you're like, what the fuck?
And then finally, after George Kambosos essentially going through, and Teofimo, who got COVID at one point, which delayed the fight, been in camp for a long time, and he's an angry dude anyway.
Yep.
You know, eventually he's going to get pissed off, because you would get pissed off. And then you start to think maybe this is what they want. Maybe Triller can't afford a rematch clause if George takes him out, and Triller probably know a little bit more about Teofimo and what's going on. Who knows? So then they pitch from Monday to Friday, right? The 16th. Maybe it was a Saturday. Yeah. Friday the 16th of October as the final push. So 2 weeks after the agreed upon final date that everyone's been working towards. And they're doing this, they're not doing this like months in advance. They're doing this, you know, a couple of weeks in advance. So, you know, it's disruptive, it's bullshit, it's pointless. Then Teofimo comes out, starts a little bit of beef with Georgie boy, who doesn't give a fuck, the boy. And I like how basic his insults are, but you can tell that it's said with such fury that it actually means more than a clever one. You know, like if someone properly calls you an idiot in the right tone with the right energy coming at you, you know, it's so much more effective than being called a cunt. Anywho, they agree on the Teofimo side and the Triller side and everyone's side except the opponent that they're going to move this to the 16th of October. George has had enough and he says, fuck off. Fighting Monday, ain't we? We've agreed Monday. We've got a contract for Monday. Then Triller reported, I'm going to tell on you, to the IBF to ask for George Kambosos to be removed from the number one mandatory position, which he earned on a DAZN card by beating Lee Selby. Respect. And he did beat Lee Selby.
Yep.
Comfortably. And then he told the announcer, I'm going straight back to the gym. Don't think I won't go back to the gym right now. We're like, easy, easy. Fuck's sake. Intense, you. Relax. He's like, no, fuck it. So now they've asked for the IBF to strip him. He's not going to do that. If they do that, that's like, imagine. The fight is now like dead. It's a dead fight because Triller now said, we're not doing it on the 16th. We're not doing it on the 4th. We've been in it. Which, weird.
And they officially announced that like a few days ago.
Mm-hmm. But that then reverts to the number 2 purse bid, which would be Matchroom.
Yes.
Which, I mean, what cards have they got? Because they could do the 18th of October, which is the Mikey Garcia card. It's not like DAZN ain't got shows just to fucking slot this on big. And what a win for them just to claim it and do it properly and just get it done. He's already worked with George. You know that?
Yep.
There's
already been 8 mil of fucking advertising apparently. So you just be like,
what have they done that with? Boy, Triller are wild. They're
paid Insta ads to the entire wrong demographic, like plus 80-year-old.
What are they? What's happening?
Hopefully a distant memory soon, because you know the space we gave them at first, we're like, as long as the real fighters are getting paid, we'll deal with your shit. Now that you're fucking over real fighters, you're done. That's it.
Mm-hmm. You know,
also, you owe Mike Tyson money.
And Roy.
Ooh.
Yeah, we learned that. But hey, there we are. So that fight is not happening now, I don't think, in any capacity, or maybe someone comes in to save the day. And
I'm seeing online people like, oh, who gives a fuck? I'm so over this fight. It's like, that's terrible. The fact that people are giving up on the fighters and the fight because of the fucking Triller bullshit. It's like,
not their fault.
Yeah.
Especially the old fucking Georgie boy.
Georgie's fucking
who I'm telling you, Georgie does him.
mate. There was a reason for a lot of these delays on Tio's side. That's the only thing,
Yeah,
And
I'm telling you, George does him. Not even because of Tio being Tio. I just think that Georgie's got his number. I just can't see like that man's done rounds with Manny. You can't tell me that
mm,
Tio hits harder than Manny. Not very few people do,
yeah,
and the reports about him and Manny are pretty fucking gleaming. And Manny's a 147, a 150 ish. George is obviously a big lump, but he fights at 135. Like
yeah.
he's holding his own in there, and you know, I think he's a problem. Big
Fucking, they need to do it, and we need to see it, man. Because
power. Other than that, I haven't really got that much more. Sky, underwhelming. Gonna give you a 3 out of 5. Okay.
fair.
Yeah. I know that there's always going to be growth. I know it's going to get better. Just stop trying too hard. They've got fucking, what's that prick's name? Joe Weller is part of the crew now.
Yeah, okay. You can see what they're, yeah.
So they had George Groves and Cole Froch together because they're a double act now. Fine.
Just
And you had
shaking each other, trying to pull each other over the table still.
no, they're pals now. They're going on tours, aren't they? They're doing speaking
Prestige.
tours together. Of course they are. Nick a couple of quid, have a laugh. George has got another hairline to be put in. Respect. Yeah, you had Johnny like running around, literally running around, and then you had Adam and Matt Macklin.
Nah.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right.
But next week is huge.
Yeah,
That Scouse card is like 154 wild and simply nothing. I don't think there's going to be very many fights on that card that are not power because them Scousers get behind it big and it's just
the atmosphere is
huge.
going to be lively. Fighters are up for it. It's it's
Massive.
nice.
Right. Like, rate, subscribe, review, all of that stuff. It'd be good to get a few more reviews, It'd be nice to get up to like 300 by the end of the year. Like 4 or 5-star reviews on iTunes, if you could, ladies and gentlemen. We will be endeavoring to get the videos on YouTube a lot quicker.
Yeah, we got new kit in it.
A bare new kit. And yeah, that's about it. Continual growth. We're live on Saturday. Big.
Nice.
Large.
Always a pleasure, my brother.
Love you. Bye.